Okay, so this is MAC 3701, May, June 2017, question one, where we're going to be covering joint and byproducts. So we're going to be focusing on part B. Part B of question one is asking you to determine whether you should sell the product, whether you should sell the products that come out at the split off point, or whether you should have further processing and then sell it after further processing. Okay, so that's what we're going to determine. The way you will determine is basically you will work out the net profit that you will receive if you sell it at split off point, and then also the net profit that you will receive if you sell it at after further processing. And you will select the product. You will select the option that will generate the highest profit. So that's ultimately what we're going to do. So we're going to say selling price at split off point minus cost incurred up until split off point, get the net profit. Then we compare that to selling price after further processing, less all costs incurred up until after further processing. And in that way, we will be able to determine which one generates the highest profit, and we will select on that basis. Now remember, the normal division deals with sales at split off point. If you want further processing, you will have to go into the extraordinary division. So we'll have to have a look, what is the extra cost that the extraordinary division incurs when they deal with the split off point, when they incur further processing. So let's read the scenario and then we will tackle it and explain further. So there's a chemical experiments company, a company based in Gauteng, has a divisional organizational structure which consists of a head office and two divisions, namely normal division and extraordinary divisions. Both divisions make use of a direct costing system and value the inventory using a first in, first out method. So when you get the question and you see that there is a divisional organizational structure, you must know there must likely be performance management as well as transfer pricing. So either both or one of it. So just take a note of that. So you'll see later on in the question, there's a transfer pricing question. So when you see a company that have a divisional organizational structure, then you must know there will most likely be transfer pricing and or performance management. You must also take note in that first paragraph that we're using the direct costing system. So that means when you cost a product or when you cost inventory, you're only taking into account variable manufacturing costs, which is made up of direct material, direct labor, and variable manufacturing overheads. Let's say under the current transfer pricing policy, at the split-off point, the normal division transfers all the joint products they produce to the extraordinary division at the current prevailing market prices. As transfer prices impacts the profit and thus performance management of both divisions, head office feels it is important to determine the most beneficial transfer pricing policy for the group as a whole. Okay, so there you can already see they are talking about transfer pricing. But we're not going to deal with transfer pricing. We are focused on joint and byproducts. What is important to note that the normal division transfers all joint products to the extraordinary division at the current prevailing market prices. Okay. So here we're saying normal division, May 2017. The normal division produces two joint products from the electrolysis of brine process, namely chlorine and sodium hydroxide. A byproduct, hydrogen, is also produced from this process. Notwithstanding the fact that currently all joint costs are transferred to the extraordinary division, the joint products can also be sold externally. So basically, what are they trying to tell you? That although um, the company chemical experiments currently transfers all joint products to the extraordinary division, the chemical experiments company can also sell the products at split off point. So there's no need for the normal division to transfer to the extraordinary division. They are able to sell it to the market as is. So just take note of that. In this scenario, they're telling you what are the byproducts and what are the joint products. So you can see there are three products. Out of the three products, two are joint products and one is a byproduct. What you must know, in other cases, you may have to determine which product is joint, which product is a buy. So generally, in terms of pricing and or in terms of quantity, one of the two, right? The products that is generally the product that is little compared to the rest, that will be the byproduct. And then everything else will be a joint product. Okay, so just take note. So what you'll most likely see, either that chlorine and sodium hydroxide, there's lots of sodium hydroxide, lots of chlorine relative to the hydrogen product, or the pricing of chlorine and sodium hydroxide is much higher relative to the hydrogen product. So therefore, it's important to distinguish your joint from your byproducts. Why is that important? For joint products, we only allocate joint costs to joint products. We do not allocate joint costs to the byproduct. What do we do with the byproduct? We reduce the joint costs by the net sales of the byproduct. So what do we actually allocate to joint product is the net joint cost. Net joint cost equals joint costs less net sales from byproduct. So that's why it's important to just to pick that up. It's important to pick it up as to how what your byproduct and what is your joint product, because you only allocate joint costs to your joint products. So they say normal division currently operates at full production capacity. The budgeted joint costs for the month of May 2017 were 480,000 Rand. So they're saying the joint cost is 480. The budgeted output for May 2017, representing a normal month from the input of brine undergoing the electrolysis process, was as follows. So what comes out? So what you're getting, 607 kilograms of chlorine, 684 kilograms of sodium hydroxide, and then 17,000 kilograms of hydrogen. As you can see, the kilograms of hydrogen relative to chlorine and sodium hydroxide is minimal. That is why hydrogen is a byproduct and not a joint product. Remember, what we're going to do, we're going to split the joint costs only to the byproducts. Now the joint cost is currently 480, but remember we must reduce the joint costs by the net sales of the byproduct. Okay, so just take note. So a regular market exists at split-off point for the full output of the byproduct after being further packaged into cylinders at a cost of 115 Rand per kilogram. Okay, so that's important. So what you must know, what you should know, that that you can use in order to allocate joint costs. We have four methods. Two out of the methods we can use. We can use the physical measures method. Why? You can use the physical measures method when the units is the same. So in this case, all three products are in kilograms. So therefore, we can use the physical measures, the physical measures method. The other method we can also use is market value at split-off point. You can use market value at split-off point if you can sell your products at split-off point. Here you can see they're telling you there's a regular market exists at split-off point. Because a regular market exists at split-off point, that means you can ordinarily sell your products at split-off point. So therefore, we will also be able to use market value at split-off point to determine the joint cost. Now remember, the different methods can yield different allocation of joint costs. So therefore, the company must tell us, the question is to tell us which method the company uses. So just take note, we can use two methods, physical measures as well as market value at split-off point. Why can we use physical measures method? Because all the products, all the joint products have the same units measurement, both are kilograms. Similarly, we can also use market value at split-off point. Why? Because a regular market exists. You can sell these products at split-off point. So therefore, we are able to use market value at split-off point. So because we can use two methods, sorry, because we can use two methods, we'll have to be told which method the company uses. Okay.
Mm.
Just take note, they say a regular market exists at split off point for the full output of the byproduct after being further packaged. Okay, so we're saying the expected selling prices of the products in May 2017 at split off point are as follows. So you can see you can sell chlorine at 224, you can sell hydroxide at 220, and you can sell hydrogen at 885. So remember, the net selling price will be 885 minus 1 rand 15. That will give you 7 rand something, 760 or 770. So that's 770 multiplied by 17,000 kilograms. That is the net sales from the byproduct. You take the net sales and you reduce the joint cost of 480 to get net joint cost. We will use the net joint cost to allocate to allocate between chlorine as well as sodium hydroxide. Okay, so just take note of that. Now we go to the extraordinary division. They say in the extraordinary division, CI and NaOH are further processed into super crazy chlorine and top secret sodium hydroxide. Okay, see what that is. Okay, the further processing of the input of chlorine and NaOH results in a 10% normal loss that occurs at the beginning of the process. The weight of 1 unit of product and 1 unit of TSSH is equal to 1 kilogram. Is equal to 1 kilogram each. You may therefore assume that the amount per kilogram will be equal to the amount per unit for both of these products. So as you can see, in May 2017, the budgeted further processing costs and expected market selling prices are those amounts over there. Okay, the 75 cents, the 2 rand 80, the 5 rand, and the 8 rand. I'm not going to read further. We don't need the further information. Okay, so now let's deal with the further information is just basically for standard costing. Okay, so we're not dealing with standard costing now, so I'm not going to read those items. So let me open up Excel. While I open up Excel, do you have any questions um, you like to ask?
Mm, not based on those questions.
Okay. So now we need to work
Based on
out
it.
which one is better. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is how we're gonna deal with it. Let me just see quickly. Just tell me once you see Excel, I'll tell you when you should be able to see Excel. Okay, so let's go to part. Let's quickly go to the required. So we're going to do part A again. I know we did it before, we will just do it again because it will filter into part B. So remember, part A says calculate and allocate the budgeted joint costs calculate and allocate the budgeted joint cost to product CI and to product NaOH for May 2017 if the normal divisions uses the physical measures method to allocate the joint costs. So remember, how do we allocate? We only allocate to joint products. So we're only going to allocate to CI and we're only going to allocate to NaOH. Okay, so we're only going to be allocating to those two. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Okay, you should see Excel. Just tell me once you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember we allocate joint costs only to our joint products. Okay, so our joint products are chlorine as well as NaOH. Happy with that?
Yes.
So if we do that, So we're going to allocate joint costs we're going to allocate net joint costs to our joint products. How do we get net joint costs? So we have workings over here. We just put workings over here. So our joint costs, that's our joint costs. Then we're going to need net sales from byproduct, and that is going to give us our net joint costs. Our net joint costs will be allocated. So the net joint costs will be allocated to our so our net joint costs will be allocated to our joint products. So this was given 480. That was given. Okay. So that was given. So I'm going to work out our net selling price working 2 from byproduct. So here we're going to have working 2. So how are we going to allocate this? So it's going to be sales costs, and that's going to give us net sales. So remember that the sales is 17,000 kilograms multiplied by what was it now? It was the selling price for hydrogen 885. Okay, so 885. So times 885. And then over here it's going to be 17,000 times 1.15. Okay, so if we do that, we're going to say equal 17,000 times 8.85. And over here it's going to be 17,000 times 1.15. Okay, so the cost sales less that is going to give you 130,000, and therefore our net joint cost is 480 minus the 139,900. So what we're going to allocate is a 341,900. That's what we're going to allocate. So remember, how do we allocate? We allocate based on physical measures method. Okay, so remember, so this is going to be if we do this, so here we're going to have total costs. So here's the product. We're gonna have joint cost, and here we'll just have a percentage. Okay, so we'll have percentage. Here we can have kilograms. So what you can see over here, you just drag this across. So our kilograms was given as what was it now again?
607 for chlorine.
What was it? 607. 607, 1, 2, 3, and then 684.
Yes.
Okay, so we add up. So therefore the percentage is going to be 607 divided by 1291. Similarly over there, the same thing, so I'm just going to drag it down. This one just add up to 1. It does, so we're happy. Okay. So now we can allocate the joint costs. Remember, joint costs, net joint costs is equal to, so net joint cost is equal to 341, and I can tell them I got it from working 1. Okay, so we're going to allocate, the net joint costs to, we're going to allocate the net joint costs to the joint products. Okay, so we're just going to say net joint costs multiplied by the percentage. Okay, so we can just drag this down, and that's obviously equal to our net joint costs. Okay, so there we go. So there, that is the allocation. So now we can work out the net profit. So that is part A. So part A, we have calculated and allocated the joint costs that need to be allocated to the joint products. Now we can do part B. Part B is to work out which method, whether we should sell at split off point or whether we should do further processing. Okay, so let's have a look. So here we're gonna have details, and here we're going to have chlorine, and here we're going to have, what's the other one, NaOH. Okay, so we're going to have sales, and then we're going to have joint costs. Okay, sales and then joint costs. So remember, the selling price at split off point, if you do this, yeah, okay, so sales less joint cost, and this will give you profit at split off point. Okay, so this will give us profit at split off point. Profit at split off point. Okay, so now we can work out the sales. So let's work out working 3. So for working 3, details, and we're going to have chlorine, and we're going to have NaOH. So to get the sales figure, we're going to need kilograms, like the units, and we're going to need selling price per kilogram. Sales per kg. Okay, so kilograms chlorine, we know it is 607. For NaOH 684. The price was 220 and 284. Yeah, 220 and 224. So this is 2.24 and this is 2.8. Okay, so now we can work out what takes place. So sales.
The one for NaOH is 2.20.
I mean, sorry, 2.20. Sorry. So there we have sales. So 2.2. So there we go, 607 multiplied by 224. Same thing with that. 684 multiplied by 224. Okay, so I can go and plug it in over here. Equals C35. I can tell them where I got it from. Got it from working 3. Okay, we already have the joint costs. Okay, so we get that from part A. From A. Okay, so we got that from A. So the joint cost is, for CI, it is that. For NaOH, it is that. So the profit at split off point is going to be that minus that. Okay, so we're making that profit at split off point. Now we must work out the profit after further processing. Okay, so now we're going to work out the profit after further processing. So what we're going to do, so we're going to have same thing. We're going to have sales. We're going to have joint costs. We're going to have further processing. And then this is going to be profit after further processing. So whichever one comes out to be the higher one, that's the option we choose. Okay, so this is going to be from A. So I'm just going to go fetch it, equals that, equals that. Okay, so now we just do sales, and we need to do so working for. Let's do working for to get sales. So if you remember correctly, they said they lose 10%. Okay, so they lose 10% during the further processing process. So for working for, we're going to have once again details. So we have kilograms, but remember that is the input, kilograms input, and then basically what comes out. So I'm just going to say normal loss at 10%. You don't have to still show normal loss. You can just say kilograms input, then you can have kilograms output. Kilograms output will be 90% of kilograms input. But basically, so kilograms output will be 90% of kilograms input because of the 10% normal loss. I'm just going the longer way so you can see it. So then I'm going to have kilograms output. Okay, kilograms output. Kilograms output is basically 90% of what you put in. Okay, so here's a 10% loss, so this is equal to that multiplied by 10%. Same thing over here. So here we're just going to do that minus what's lost. So we end up with 90%. So now we can have sales per kilogram. Now we can go fetch the sales per kilogram. It is, I think, 5 and 8. What was it? It was 5 Rand and 8 Rand. Okay, 5 Rand and 8 Rand. 5 Rand was 5 Rand and 8 Rand. Okay, so there we can see that is the revenue now. So if I go over here, it's equal to C42. Okay, so all I need to do now is get the further processing. So I can say working 5. So remember, the 10% was lost in the beginning of the process. Okay, the 10% was lost at the beginning of the process. So therefore, when we work out the further processing, we must use the after the loss. Okay, so just take a note. Because the kilograms was lost at the beginning of the process, you're only applying further processing costs to what is in the process. So what's in the process? The 90%. So just understand that. Are you happy with that? You follow that?
Yeah.
Okay. So don't use a 607, don't use a 684, because that is not, no, that was not in the process when they applied further processing costs, because we lost 10%. So now we're going to say further processing costs per kilogram. Okay, so I think for this one was 75 cents, 75 cents, and for that one it was 2 Rand 80. Okay, then we can get further processing costs. Okay, so further processing costs. So it's going to be that multiplied by 75 and that over there equal that multiplied by 75 and then that multiplied, there we go. So now we can go plug it in. So now we add up, we're going to say sales less all the costs. So that profit is higher. So you can see the profits are higher if you do further processing. So what we're going to do, we're going to say, okay, the profit for both products are higher when doing further processing. Therefore, the company should continue further processing. Okay, so there we go. So that's basically your 12 marks. So let's see if I didn't miss any information quickly. No, 280.75 cents. Yeah, it's fine. Yep. So there we go. Okay, so both products should undergo the further processing. Yeah. Okay. So we're happy with that. Any questions?
No.
So that is basically how you do this question when you're doing further processing. Okay. So it's a typical question that you will get. They'll ask you to help determine whether they should sell at split off point or whether they should do further processing. If you don't have any questions, then we're done for today, unless you have any other questions for me.
Now, the only question I had is based on the Mac assignment, right? So usually based on the questions which I would do for work or cost of capital, right? For debentures, they would have a market-related interest rate. So I wanted to ask if they do not have one, so how do you determine your cost of capital?
We'll have to determine it. So I'm going through the assignments now, and then I'll have a look, and then I'll tell you. So there's different ways of determining it. And I'll show you, I'll just have a look, and then I'll show you how you actually get to calculate it. Okay.
It's due this Saturday, so
Okay.
no, I'm saying it's due on Saturday, so I don't know.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday coming.
Yes, this
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah. So I'm having a look at it today, then I'll get back to you by tomorrow.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, okay.
Okay. Cool. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. So we'll stop there then for today, and we will continue I'll let you know regarding our next lesson. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. See you. Bye bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.